Do a podcast, they said. It'll be easy, they said. Hey guys, it's Sean with another episode of Automation AMA. Ask me anything. Got the ballcap now, so I'm official podcaster, right? Videocaster. Anyway, I figured I'd answer one of the questions that was asked on LinkedIn today that had to do with trade shows, since this is the week for both Pack Expo and the the assembly show up at the Rosemont Center. This is actually the first year in 24 or 25 years that I have not been to Pack Expo. I started out pretty early on helping set up the shows as a young engineer and kind of working the booth, and worked my way up to helping manage the booth, and then doing sales, and then running my own company and having our own booths. So I've done a lot of trade shows over the years, very long weeks. I have a lot of empathy for everybody who works those shows, because people don't really understand. You've got to be on all the time. You're getting up at 6, 7 in the morning. You're talking with somebody all day. You're on the trade show floor. Your feet are tired. Then you're going to dinners, sometimes 2 dinners in a night, and then maybe another drink after dinner, and then sometimes 2 or 3 drinks after dinner, and then all of a sudden it's 1 in the morning, and you've got to do it all over again for 5 or 6 more days. So trade shows are a tough thing. So I want to start off with Fredrik's question, which is, how do you calculate the ROI of a trade show? And I'll get to answering that question, but I first wanted to just talk about some important things I think that companies need to think about when they're doing trade shows. And now this is coming from a perspective of, companies that I have worked for and that I have owned. I'm going to say middle-sized company. Some of these larger companies are going to have an entirely different tactic. They're going to have differences of opinion on how to run a trade show. I'm not going to really talk about these guys that have, hundreds of thousands of square feet of booth space, or, somebody like Promoc, who has an entire, alleyway all the way down the entire length of the McCormick Center. That's an entirely different world, right? Talking about companies that are, mid-size. So one of the most important things, I think, is schedule your appointments and meetings. Make sure you have meetings set up with your customers already, even before you go to the show. It's really important to connect with your customers there. It's a chance where you can meet a lot of your customers all in one place, instead of taking flights all around the United States or even all around the world. So it's really important to make sure you've got those meetings. If you're going to a trade show only to find new customers, now you do find new customers, hopefully. That's one of the appeals of trade shows. But if you're going there just to find new customers, you're going to be disappointed. You need to keep those established relationships going strong, and make sure that you're really connecting with those already current suppliers and customers. Prior to the show, be sure to promote the hell out of yourself on both social media and mass emailings. People need to know that you're going to be there. They need to mark you down and make sure that they're going to come see your booth, and make sure that they're going to be, visiting with you. That goes back to point number 1. Make sure that you've got meetings already set up. But you're not going to have meetings with everybody. At least they need to know where you are and what you're showing, and have you on the top of their mind. While you're at the show, continue to promote your booth, whether it be just a little video in the morning on LinkedIn saying, hey guys, we're here at the booth, come visit us. What we did back at R&D with our Uptime series, we started the automation therapy couch, which was kind of funny because half our booth didn't show up. So we scrounged around and found a couch and drug it out and put up some iPad cameras, and really quickly kind of just on the fly came up with this idea. We're going to start interviewing people, and it got to be kind of popular. It turned out it was a fun mistake, a happy mistake that happened, but it really got a lot of buzz going about our booth, and people stopped by and even said, like, "Ooh, can you interview me on the couch?" Yeah, absolutely, sure. And it brought more people into the booth. So try to be a little creative. Try to come up with ways to promote yourself while you're there at the show. Be frugal. Again, this is going back to mid-sized companies. Trade shows are expensive. We all know that, right? You don't have to spend a ton of money on a lot of fixtures and plants and things like that. I mean, it's all nice. It looks nice, but when you're renting a ficus tree for $500, it's not a really good use of your money. The best thing you probably could do, though, and absolutely do not skimp on this, the double padding under the carpet. Pay for it. Trust me, your feet will thank you later on. Don't change up your trade show booth every single time. Try to come up with something that works in a 10 by 10 and a 10 by 20 and a 20 by 20. You might need to bring a little more or a little less stuff, but for example, maybe get a 10 by 10 banner and a 20 by 10 banner so that you can use them interchangeably at these different shows. The less you're recreating yourself, the better. Honestly, we made that mistake early on with R&D. Every single time we change the booth up, and it's expensive, and you make mistakes and you forget to pack stuff. If you can just have that one crate that's ready to go to every single show, it's going to save you a lot of headaches. This one's probably going to be a little controversial. If you're a smaller company, don't bring a machine. Especially if you're in the custom space. If you have standard products, yeah, sure, that kind of makes sense. But in the custom space, it's always hard to show somebody what they're looking for. So they may see I have an assembly machine and they're like, well, I really need a palletizer, or I really need a robotic adhesive dispensing machine. Whatever you're showing is not really what they want or what they need. So we decided a couple of years ago actually to start doing digital kiosks with video and interactive photographs. So when people say, hey, this is my application, I need to put XYZ together, we can go, oh, we've done something similar. Here, let me bring up some video and show you. So getting to your question, Fredrik, how do you calculate the ROI of a trade show? It's a tough thing to do. I mean, you can always look at, okay, how much did you spend divided by how many jobs did you get from that show? But it's always hard to tell, did you get the job from that show, or did they know about you before and this was just reinforcing it? Or sometimes it could be 2-3 years later that a customer you talk to at a show actually buys a piece of equipment. So it's really difficult to just put an exact number on it. My argument would be that trade shows are not finite events or distinct shows. It's about building your brand and about building some recognition and having your customers or even people who know of you in the industry saying, hey, I've heard of that company. Let me go visit their booth. I've seen them at these shows several times. Maybe I didn't stop by the first 2 or 3 times, but I've seen them a lot and I like what they're doing. Let me go stop by. So build that brand, build some recognition. Little things. We started with the whole red sneakers thing about 2 years ago, I guess first show after COVID, whatever that was, Automate maybe. One, it's a whole lot more comfortable than dress shoes. And 2, it really kind of popped out and people immediately like, oh, cool, we like your sneakers. So we all had these matching red sneakers, right? So not saying I came up with the idea, but we ran with it. And I've noticed several other companies have adopted that same idea. And I even had somebody who's like, oh yeah, we blatantly stole that from you. It's a great idea. So it's just something like that, just to get people to recognize you and put a brand with your name. So in closing, trade shows really important. You get to meet all of your customers, suppliers, make new partners in the industry, and just the networking. That's really a lot of it. That's the important part, is getting to know everybody in the industry. I would, for smaller companies, mid-sized companies, I would say pick 1 to 2 large shows and do those. Be sure you walk them first, though. Make sure that it makes sense. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be near? Who do you not want to be near? Also, you might do like 1 regional show if it's easy to get to and it's kind of low cost. I would suggest though walking that regional show first, though. Some are a lot better than others. So be sure that you know what you're getting yourself into and what you're getting for your money. So that about wraps it up. I told you this one would be shorter. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, please, at the end of this video, you'll see my email address and LinkedIn. Go ahead and shoot them on over. I'm happy to answer anything you want to ask about the automation world. And have a good day. See you guys.